The historical dynamic I've outlined is at the heart of capital, which Marx analyzes as self-valorizing value. Significantly, in introducing the category of capital in Kapital, Marx describes it with the same language that Hegel used to describe Geist in the phenomenology, the self-moving substance that is the subject of its own process. In so doing, Marx suggests that a historical subject in the Hegelian sense does indeed exist in capitalism. Yet, and this is crucially important, he does not identify that subject with the proletariat or with humanity. Instead, he identifies it with capital. This implies that the so-called rational core of Hegel's dialectic is precisely its idealist character. It expresses capitalism's dynamic structure of social domination that acquires a quasi-independent existence vis-a-vis the people who constitute it. In his mature theory, then, Marx develops a position very different from that of theorists like Lukács, for whom the social totality constituted by labor provides the standpoint of the critique of capitalism and is to be realized in socialism. In Kapital, the totality and the labor constituting it have become the objects of critique. The contradictions of capital point to the abolition, not the realization of the subject. Within this framework, then, history, understood as an immanently driven directional dynamic, is not a universal category of human social life. Rather, it is a historically specific feature of capitalist society that can be and has been projected onto all of human life. By grounding this dynamic in the category of capital, this analysis treats it as a manifestation of heteronomy. In this evaluation, that is, of history as heteronomy, the critical Marxian position is, curiously enough, closer to post-structuralism than it is to orthodox Second International Marxism. Nevertheless, it doesn't regard heteronomous history as a narrative, which can simply be dispelled discursively, but as a structure of domination that must be overcome. From this point of view, any attempt to rescue human agency by focusing on contingencies in ways that bracket the existence of the structure of domination is ironically profoundly disempowering. I'm suggesting, in other words, that the category of capital allows for a position that can get beyond the dualistic opposition of a Hegelian transhistorical conception of history as necessity and its post-structuralist rejection in the name of contingency. The understanding of capitalism's complex dynamic I've outlined also allows, and this I of course cannot elaborate here, for a critical social rather than technological analysis of the form of growth and structure of production in modern society. In Kapital, Marx examines both as heteronymous forms that nevertheless embody emancipatory possibilities that remain unrealized under capitalism. Marx's analysis, then, seeks to grasp the course of capitalist development as a double-sided development of enrichment and impoverishment. The rapid increase in scientific and technical knowledge under capitalism does not signify linear progress towards emancipation. According to Marx's analysis, such increased knowledge, itself socially constituted, has led to the fragmentation and emptying of human labor and to the increasing control of humanity by the results of its own objectifying activity. Yet it has also increased the possibility that labor could be individually enriching and that humanity could exert greater control over its fate. This double-sided development is rooted in the double character of the structures of capitalist society with which Marx begins Capital. By indicating that the potential of the system of production developed under capitalism could be used to transform that system itself, this analysis grasps the opposition of a linear faith in progress and its romantic rejection as expressing another historical antinomy that in both of its terms is characteristic of the capitalist epoch. Marx's critical theory points to the possibility that what was historically constituted in alienated form could be appropriated and hence fundamentally transformed. This possibility is given by the historical emergence of a gap between society as it is, molded by capital, and society as it could be, given the possibilities generated by capital itself. This gap, which indicates that the whole is not unitary, opens the space for critical reflection, not on the basis of what is presumed to be ontological, but on the basis of a growing contradiction between what is and what could be. In other words, the critical theory of capitalism can elucidate its own condition of possibility by means of the same categories with which it seeks to grasp its object. Unlike some other critical theories, it doesn't accord itself a privileged position that implicitly is an exception to what it critically describes. The thrust of the critique of capitalism is to point toward the possibility of the overcoming of capitalism's quasi-automatic historical dynamic, which means towards the possibility that people could finally become the subjects of their own history. With the realization of that possibility, the critical theory would have lost its object, and hence its own validity. Thank you.